himself. Senator, what an exchange that was. Okay, so the FBI, this is the executive assistant director, says, I can't answer that. We can't reveal sources and methods. That doesn't prohibit, though, the FBI, Senator, in my mind, that they could have said the FBI did nothing illegal. The FBI did nothing unethical. The FBI would never encourage any type of violence or participate in such. That would be a broad, sweeping generalization without giving out any sources, any methods, or any evidence whatsoever. Why couldn't there be a blanket denial that that's not who we are, that's not the way we act?
Well, there should have been, and if they were doing their jobs, that's what they would have said. But unfortunately, under Joe Biden, we have seen an incredibly partisan Department of Justice. And both the Department of Justice and the FBI have an arrogance that they are not accountable to anyone, that they can stonewall. And so it should be very easy for the FBI to say, no federal agents participated in violent crimes. No federal agents actively incited, encouraged others to commit violent crimes. If they were doing their jobs, those would be very easy questions to answer. They refuse to answer those, and there's an element of arrogance. But we got to watch this in light of the last 5 years, where we know that the Department of Justice and the FBI was deeply politicized, that it went after Donald Trump with all of its might, right down to an assistant general counsel at the FBI fabricating a counterfeit document that was submitted to a federal court to try to target and take out President Trump. And given that history of deep politicization that has undermined the integrity of these noble institutions, I think both the FBI and the Department of Justice have an obligation to be candid and to come clean. And in that same hearing, I asked that FBI official, I asked her about one individual in particular, Ray Epps. There have been a lot of videos online of Ray Epps. Ray Epps was there on January 5th, on January 6th. There are videos of him urging the crowd, saying we should go to the Capitol, but not just go to the Capitol. We must go in the Capitol. In other words, urging them to break the law. And he keeps saying, in the Capitol, in the Capitol. And the entire crowd starts chanting, Fed, 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 Fed. It's a very puzzling and disturbing video. The next day on January 6th, there's video of him talking to one of the people at that rally, whispering in his ear, and literally 5 seconds later, that person is pushing barricades down. The natural inference being that this individual urged him to break the law. And so I asked the FBI, is Mr. Epps an agent of the FBI? Is he an informant of the FBI? And she stonewalled, refused to answer. We know the FBI put him out on the list of people they wanted information about, and then magically he disappeared. There needs to be transparency, and the Biden administration needs to fess up. Is this a politicized law enforcement operation that is targeting the enemies of the president? And did they actively encourage and solicit illegal conduct?
Senator, that would be an easy question to answer. That doesn't reveal sources and methods.
Yep.
And with all that videotape evidence that you mentioned there, that would be somebody that would be a leader and agitator in something that can never happen again. Just like the riots in the summer of 2020 can never happen again. I'd like to see that committee formed. So my question is, why can't they just definitively say absolutely not? And that would be a person of interest. They originally did say that. Why did they back off that?
Well, look, they should be able to say that. And listen, law enforcement all the time has undercover officers. That's not unusual. What is unusual, what is illegal, is for those undercover officers to actively incite illegal conduct. You know, if you and I go out to dinner and I'm undercover against you, that's fine, but I can't say, hey, Sean, let's go knock off the bank. I got a great idea. Come on, Sean, man up and let's go rob the bank. That's crossing the line. That is illegal.
Well, that would depend on how much we both drank before they were giving an answer. But I'm not trying to make light of it. But I want to ask you another question. because this Attorney General, I now feel, especially after the Trump-Russia hoax that went on for 3.5, nearly 4 years and dragged this country through hell, all based on a dirty Russian disinformation dossier paid for by Hillary and FISA warrants, where, in fact, they knew at certain times that the information contained in there was false, and it became the basis of the FISA applications. So I want to know why the Attorney General of the United States is looking at Texas's voting law, which is far more accessible, as is Georgia's law, far more accessible than the very restrictive laws in the state of Delaware, where Joe has served, I believe now, a whopping 577,000 years, and he never lifted a finger to change the voting laws. Why is he attacking Georgia and Texas when his state is far more restrictive?
Yeah, listen, it is absolutely hypocritical. And the unfortunate answer is this Attorney General is not up to the job. The job of Attorney General is too big for him. He was a federal judge for 24 years. And when he came in, he had a reputation for not being overly political, for being a man of integrity. And in less than a year, he has lit that reputation on fire, because what's happened is Merrick Garland has just given in to the political partisans. He hasn't had the strength of courage to tell his own party no. And, you know, you reported on a story that Fox broke earlier today that is a great example of that, which is the shameful instance where the Attorney General directed the FBI to target and to prosecute parents, to prosecute moms and dads as terrorists for going to school boards and expressing their displeasure at critical race theory, at
it's chilling.
Boys and girls' restrooms, at sexual assaults. And what Fox broke today is that originated. We know it came from a letter from the National Association of School Boards, but we now know the idea for the letter came from the Biden administration, Biden's Secretary of Education. So you literally have a Biden cabinet member telling a left-wing group, hey, lobby the Biden administration so that we can investigate mom and dad as terrorists. It's an absolute political abuse of power, and the Attorney General should be ashamed that he's not upholding the integrity of the Department of Justice.
I would agree. Senator Ted Cruz, thank you.